the Man to Man podcast. Yours truly, Darius Butler, my co-host Antoine Bethea.
Yo.
We got a lot on the table this week around sports. Gonna talk a little baseball actually, but before that, we're gonna hop into this NBA playoffs, and then obviously what's going on around the NFL with these training camps. But to start, got to start playoffs. NBA playoffs in a bubble. I feel like we talked about it kind of briefly on some past episodes about sports in the bubble, no fans, all that type of stuff. How you feeling about the bubble now?
Man, I'm loving it right now. For one, coming on at 4:00, man. So, give you something to watch all afternoon. But I feel like, man, the guys are they stepping up and playing ball, man. I know we had talked about it before, like you said, as far as like what type of impact will no fans have on a game, but I don't see it having any type of impact. I think the guys, they're professionals. They're going out there. They're doing what they need to do. Competition level is high, as we can see as the playoffs started. Last night or the day before, 2 days ago, and last night, 2 number 8 seeds, got a W over a number 1 seed, man, and I mean that's what the playoffs is about.
Yeah, man, and it's different. That bubble atmosphere. I hated it at first. I guess watching the first, kind of practice games, and then kind of get trending up to the seeding games, got a little better, and now playoffs is playoff basketball. And I see some people trying to make excuses for LeBron and the Lakers. Somehow they don't have the home court. There's no fans out there, but hey, it's hooping, man. They dropping. It's like a big AAU tournament out there, man. And that's the part I love about it. Yeah, that's the part I love about it. Dude dropping 50 points, and then you got to see him around the pool an hour later. Like that's a dope aspect that we get that I'm sure a lot of us didn't expect.
So I seen Mitchell. He dropped the 57. He dropped 57 the other night.
They called the L.
They called the L, but it was crazy because it was the same. It was like you just said, like he was out there talking on his phone, and Buddy walked up on him and was like, "Yo, it's crazy. He just dropped 57 on us, and we got to, we in this bubble together." So it definitely gives it a different aspect to the whole situation, man. But I'm enjoying it, bro, and I'm enjoying it. Dame Dollar.
Dang, the killer right now. Bubble MVP.
He's going crazy right now. And, Melo doing his thing. CJ McCollum doing his thing. So I think the Lakers might be in trouble.
That's what a lot of people saying, man. I don't see LeBron getting bumped in the first round. But them boys go down 0-2, it's a wrap. And
man,
they lose in that LA home court, man. I heard Shaq say probably right before the playoffs started, he was like, man, this is the first playoffs where that pressure is kind of off, having to try to go to another person's gym and get 2 wins. Now we're in the same gym every night. The Portland shit, at the playoff, you don't want a Super Bowl. It's really about what teams get hot at the right time. Portland kind of been in playoff mode for like the last 2 weeks now, so them boys get after it, man. I know watching that game last night, it was great to see.
Yeah, man. And then, like you said, as far as folks making excuses for LeBron, the man had a triple double, but his role players didn't come to play last night. In my opinion,
they did.
In my opinion, I don't think they came to play. I think he has to be a little bit more assertive. I know he's a great all-around player. He's going to pass. He can get his players involved. I think that's kind of been the knock of his spectacular career. I don't know how you can have a knock on a spectacular career, but I just think right now with Avery Bradley being gone, Rondo being gone, vet guys who has a lot of game experience under their belt. I just think he got to put that book bag on a little earlier than expected.
Yeah, he got to get more aggressive, man. His stat line was crazy last night. Even for LeBron, I'm sure he broke some type of record. I saw he broke some type of Magic Johnson assist record. But like you said, man, for the Lakers to win, and people talking about to win the championship, I'm talking about this series. For the Lakers to win this series, LeBron got to go out there and have like a 35+ point night. 9 assists, 12, 13 rebounds, like that type of stat line. The 20, 25, 15 to 15, I don't feel like that's gonna get it done. As crazy as that sounds,
crazy. It sounds crazy.
It's crazy because that's what we expect from LeBron. And when you look at that team, the LA team, and how they're made up, if those guys are hitting their open shots, they're not really made like. I don't know the third scorer that you can just dump it off to and get his own bucket consistently. Kuzma has some up and down. Danny Green haven't been hitting shots lately. KCP haven't been hitting. Right. JR maybe could get a little more burn. Deion Waiters. Hopefully the boys figure it out. I'm enjoying watching Portland play though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because like you said, like I'm always for the underdog. I'm always for the underdog, and I feel like and like you said, they've been in playoff mode since they entered the bubble, so they have that momentum going into the playoffs, man, and they know what they're supposed to do. I think each guy on the court knows their role, and they play that role to the T. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think, like I said, man, I'm a huge LeBron fan, but watching that game, man, I think I think the Lakers in trouble, bro.
Yeah, they're in trouble, man. Everybody talk about the Lakers, but on the other side, the other one seed on the East side. They took an L2 to the Magic. Bucks. Greek Freak led Bucks. MVP of the league most likely led Bucks. Lost to the Magic in their first game. You think they're in trouble too?
I don't know. I think it was. I never want to be like, yo, it was a fluke. You know what I mean? Because you gotta go out there and you gotta play the game. You know what I'm saying? You gotta play the game. You gotta make baskets. You know what I'm saying? Y'all shoot at the same basket. You know what I mean? So I never want to say it was a fluke. But I think Milwaukee will come out, win this game probably in 5. But we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Obviously
it sounds like you said it was a fluke to me. They went into 5.
Like I said, it's tough. It's tough saying it's a fluke, man. You shooting the same ball, you shooting the same. You know what I mean? But who knows? Orlando played they played a real good game last night. So I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not a believer in the Greek Freak deep in the playoffs. I'm not gonna be a believer in him honestly until he develop a consistent jump shot. Yeah. I feel like your best player, like we got to be able to go to you. When we down 12, 13 points in the fourth, he a completely different player when he got the lead. When they down, it's a whole different ballgame. We can't be running plays for Chris Middleton when we need 5, 6 quick points.
Shoot, so, Chris Middleton, man, he NBA All-Star.
He an All-Star, but to win championships, you talking about championships, like it's gonna take more than All-Star. You need your best player to be able to take over a game in a big moment, like you see Dame doing. Yeah. And CJ took over the other day, but for the most part, everybody know when it's Dame time. Everybody know when it's Dame time. And he a player that get that look in his eyes. And that's what you need in the playoffs. We've seen LeBron do it in the past. We've seen KD do it, Steph, all the greats. Harden still got to do it in the big moments. They're up in their series. Toronto up in their series. Who else is up? Miami's up.
Miami, yep.
Yeah, Miami up over the Pacers. Denver's up one over the Jazz.
Yep.
Yeah. Who else we got? Tone threw me off of that graphic with the East-West joint. The East. So who else we got out there? A couple more series I'm missing. Was up 2 now against Brooklyn. They played today.
Yeah, Brooklyn will get up out of there.
Yeah, they're gonna be up out of there.
Yeah, cool. But definitely, man, the bubble, man, they got some action going on, man. And I'm like I said, I'm excited doing this time, having some NBA playoffs in the month of August, man. So
yeah, man, it's crazy. Who's your best player right now in the bubble?
In the bubble,
you got to pick one right now. To my history, last year, none of that. Today, right now, what player are you taking number 1 in the bubble?
James Harden.
People sleeping on him. People have always had a knock on him, and he's doing some crazy things.
From what I've seen, and he said it first. Well, for what I've seen, he turned his defense up a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that was one of the things that was a huge knock on him. Whereas, he liability on the defensive side of the, on the defensive end of the court or whatever. But right now, man, instant bucket. Every time he get the ball, he can put it in the rim, or he's gonna make plays for his teammates. You know what I mean? Yep. So being able to get some people around him. If I was, like you said, I was in the bubble. we was open gym, I'm picking him number one.
And,
Who you got? Who you got?
He's a bucket, man. James Harden, I think third player to average 30 in 3 straight seasons. He's definitely a bucket. It's hard. It's hard. I'm a LeBron guy.
Me too.
It's hard for me to look at, but from what I've been watching, as far as right now, today, I can't go with LeBron. I would either have to go Kawhi Leonard or Dame. And,
okay.
Man, I'll probably go Kawhi. They're up in their series too.
Yeah.
I'll probably go Kawhi, man, just because of what he does consistently on the defensive end. He got a bag. He got a bag as well on offense. Very fundamentally sound. It's unstoppable in that mid range. Hits the three, gets to the rim. And like I said, what he does on defense, better than anybody else in the league, especially on the perimeter. Like I got to go with Kawhi, man. Defending champ. So we're gonna see if he can get them Clippers. That's my pick to win it all. The Clippers. I got the Clippers coming out of the West.
Okay. In the East?
Raptors coming out of the East.
Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna try to defend their throne. Kawhi gonna knock them off, and then Kawhi gonna be in the GOAT conversation.
I definitely got you. I got the East, Toronto in the East. That West, man, that West is tough.
Yeah, it is.
That West is tough.
My little brother got Houston winning it all.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening.
I don't see it happening either. Because the way they play the game, man, they have to be on every night as far as like shooting the ball, like every night. And that's tough. That's tough to ask. You know what I'm saying? Have everybody on now.
You're on the bubble.
Yeah,
same rims, no traveling.
No traveling. That's huge.
That changes them. Who you got come out the West?
Man. I'm gonna stay in LA. I'm gonna go with the Lakers. Like I said, I'm gonna go with the Lakers, man.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the Lakers.
Lakers Raptors.
Lakers Raptors.
The earliest finals prediction. All right, bet, man.
Yeah.
All right, what else we got? So the playoffs been dope. What else we got going on around sports, man?
We keep it in the month of August. You know what I'm saying? Training camp. We in the middle of training camp. Guys. Finally getting to put the full pads on, full padded practice, and guys getting after it, man. But unfortunately, like it's like every year, you're gonna have injuries, and you never want to see it, especially season-ending injuries on the first couple of days, man. But it happens, and we know that. I guess one of the big ones was Gerald McCoy. We spoke on this last episode, as far as the defensive line out there in Dallas, man, and how they had a deep core out there. But he tore his quad. How you think that will affect the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, it's definitely going to affect the depth up front. And Gerald McCoy, when he's healthy, man, he can be a game wrecker.
Yeah,
what that does for the guys behind them on that front level. If you got disruptive guys where they may start demanding double teams, that changes everything for the defense, makes everything better. I think him getting hurt, it's a blow to that defense, but I think they're definitely talented enough to overcome it. It's going to be next man up. Somebody got to step in and take advantage of that opportunity. But like you said, it's part of the game. And I hated to see him go down. He seems like a great guy. Been in the league for a while now. So, but next guy got to step in and take advantage of the opportunity, man.
Hey, I want to ask you a question. So I was seeing a lot of back and forth as far as like we talking about the business side of it now. So I think he had signed a $6 million deal. I think it was $3 million up front.
Oh no, that was Everson Griffin. But McCoy signed. I think he had like a 3-year deal.
He had a 3-year deal.
He had a 3-year deal, but it was a clause in there, injury clause, specifically on his quads. I guess he came in there with some quad issues.
Yeah, they said that it was it popped up when he took his physical. Yeah, that it was some quads on. So maybe red light on the quad or whatever. But as far as he get injured and them cutting him, like how do you feel about that? Like,
man, it's tough, man. And from the business side of it, if I'm running the business side of the Cowboys or a football team, it makes 100% sense. This is something that was red flag coming in, like you said, popped up on the physical. and they put in the contract. Like I said, once again, from a business standpoint, it's smart. You're going to protect yourself. You're going to protect how much money you're going to pay players, especially when it comes to specific injuries. So it happened, and it went down that way. From the personal side of it, it's tough, and it definitely looks bad. Like, damn, I'm hurt. Now y'all just get rid of me. But he did get $3 million. I think they paid him $3 million that they're not getting back. And hopefully he gets healthy, and if he wants to give it another go. He don't play a long time, make a ton of money. And if he want to give it another go, at least he'll be a free agent, and he'll be able to, find his best fit to go and hopefully chase that, get that ring.
All right,
how you feel about it?
I'm with you, bro. Like, I think a lot of times, man, if we can understand the business side aspect of it, when we first get in the game, it wouldn't be so personal. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, I always want players to get as much money as they can. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But then that's why we sign contracts. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, like you said, business side, I definitely get it. I'm pretty sure he was probably comfortable with the situation, knowing, what he was coming in with. I'm pretty sure they had some type of talks. I'm pretty sure Dallas front office kind of, probably had those talks with his agent. His agent probably relayed that to him as well. I'm pretty sure he felt comfortable in his abilities, being able to go out there and do his thing. So, if the player is good with it, team's good with it, shit, who am I? You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's part of the business.
Yeah. So man.
Understanding that is key, man. And so that's gonna be a good. We're gonna have a great conversation later on with Mikey Taylor.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
former pro skater.
Matter of fact, he's in now.
Okay.
So we can bring him in now, man. All right, we're back, and we here and really excited for our next guest, man. Former professional skateboarder, co-founder of the St. Archer Brewery, co-founder, president, and managing principal of Commune Capital, which is a private equity real estate investment firm, man. And we're gonna bring him in. With no further ado, Mikey Taylor. What's going on, man?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on, man? Happy to have you.
Oh, pleasure is all mine.
Yeah. So before we got on, man, I was kind of just interested in. Obviously, we're gonna talk about your skateboarding career and all the great things that you did with that. But here we always talk about after career stuff. We do what we do. It's really short term. We get done. We get out of the game. We're still pretty much young. And I was asking you about your private equity real estate investment firm and kind of like what took you to that place. So like, what made you want to go that route?
So it's a long story, so bear with me. It'll all make sense. When I told my parents I was going to be a pro skateboarder, they kind of panicked. It was such a small sport at the time and so different than the conventional path that kind of all of us thought I was going to take. And so my dad, being a little bit fearful, his kind of comfortability in it was, you need to go speak to my guy, Randy. And Randy ran a multifamily office, meaning he managed a bunch of families' money. And then they also had a private equity division. So they were investing in their own investments that the families could then invest with them. And so my dad was like, yo, if you convince Randy to help you with your money, then I'll feel at peace with this. So I'm 19 years old, 19, 20. I meet this guy, Randy, and I'm not making enough to really have the conversation with them. Like, I'm making 50 grand a year at this point. And, his clients, they make more money. And so he's like, what do you need? And I'm like, well, I'm skateboarding. I don't know what I'm going to do afterward. And I need your help figuring it out. And thank God he was like, okay, I'm going to help you, and actually mentored me through the process, where he started teaching me how money worked, how to put myself in position to even invest into things so that I'd be in a good position when my career ended and went through the transition into the next thing. Well, in that kind of plan that he created for me, one of the big components was investing in real estate. And it was ultimately, how can I invest in assets that I could achieve financial freedom, meaning my investments paying me enough interest off them to support my lifestyle. And I think it was really him. Real estate was such a big component of their business that I blindly followed because I was so scared of life afterward. And then once I experienced how it worked, I loved it. I loved the idea that I could have cash coming in that I didn't have to work for, and it just kept coming in. So I think it was that experience with him that led me to eventually creating my own company.
Man, that's dope, man. And you know, guy like myself, it's kind of like one of those same things. Like when you're in it, it's like, okay, well, I don't know when it's just going to end. I don't know, you know, when I'm gonna get injured or when I'm gonna stop loving the game. But again, you know, what am I gonna do after, man? So it's beautiful, man, to hear. You know, you're not, you know, it's gonna be one of those statistics where, you know, after you're done, you know, you're struggling or whatever the case may be. So that's beautiful, man.
That's right. Yeah. So really, to answer your question, I had great guidance that basically brought me to it, and then I was in.
Yeah, and we all need that. We all need that. Like you said, you knew skateboarding, and
right.
That was your thing. So that was dope. So let's talk about your skateboarding career. I think you was like 20 years, like what, 15 pro?
I was 15 years pro. Skateboarded for about 22 years total.
Okay, so what got you into skateboarding?
Gosh, man, when I was younger, like one of the cool kids had a skateboard and I just wanted to be cool and fit in. So I got one also. Yeah. And it just grabbed me, man. It was the first thing that like basically consumed me and then never let go. And that's ultimately what got me into becoming a pro skateboarder. Is I just didn't want to stop skating. Yeah. So I turned into like, okay, if I have to get a job, that means I'm not going to be able to skate as much. So how can I hack my way out of that and continue to skate? And that's when I convinced companies start giving me money to do it.
So how the amateur to pro, like how does that process work? Like, you know, obviously, like you said, is it when companies start put money into you as a skater where you can turn pro, or is it like a certain amount of time? Like how does that work?
Yeah, so basically amateurs get paid as well. Okay. So if you're an amateur, if you're getting paid as a skateboarder, you're an amateur, you don't turn pro until a company starts marketing your name. Okay. So they'll start selling your name. So Mikey Taylor on skateboards, Mikey Taylor on shoes, Mikey Taylor on clothes. That's what officially turns you pro. And you make more money as a pro, but a lot of people think, oh, if you make money, then you're pro. Not the case. They've got to sell a product with your name on it.
Okay, you talk about the skateboard. So what? Over 100 signature skateboards, seven signature shoes. Like that's what I want. Go ahead.
I had a lot. I mean, I'm one of those examples where I thought my career was going to last 4 or 5 years, and it just kept going longer and longer and longer. So you know, after 10 years, I had 100 boards, but you know, considering 3 graphics come out each quarter, and I did it long enough, it was just the numbers that got me there.
Nah, that's dope, because I'm a shoe guy. You know what I'm saying? I'm a shoe guy. So I watched a little video of you talking about one of your shoes and how you was like, you know, it was kind of easy process where you kind of wanted something clean and something that looked nice. So, you know, that was something that, you know, growing up, I was like, man, if I could create a shoe, man, I'd love to do that.
Yeah, that was fun, man. That was a huge one. So in skateboarding, a lot of people get to the point where they have their own skateboard, right? They turn pro, they have their own skateboard. Not a lot of people get to a point where they have your own shoe. And when you get your own shoe, that's when actual money comes in, because the amount of units you're selling is so much greater than a skateboard. Right. And so that was like a huge milestone. I got my first shoe. It was like, oh my gosh, I now have a product that can cross over to non-skateboarders, right? If you're going to buy skateboards because you want to use a skateboard, but at that time, a lot of people were buying skate shoes that didn't skate. So that was like, you know, when actual money started coming in was when I got a shoe. So that was a cool moment for sure.
All right, I'm back in, fellas. Can you hear me?
All right, brother, we got you.
Good, you good.
All right, good, man. I've been listening the whole time. Super dope convo, man. I got a question for you, because I got into skating. Well, not really skating myself, but the video game, when the Tony Hawk, that video game come out, how did that change things for you?
So Tony Hawk, the game coming out, like, look, I played it as a kid too, man. I'd be up all night playing it. But Tony Hawk game, I think because it reached so many people, that's what actually brought our industry from just being a core kind of very niche world to mainstream. Yeah. And so what it ended up doing is, you know, skateboarders at that point, I don't know, maybe we made 30 grand a year, 35 grand a year. Now all of a sudden the first guy made over 100 grand a year. A couple guys made 200 grand a year. So it made it so that pros could actually make a little bit of money. And then down the road, you know, we had our first pro that made over $1 million a year. So that was massive as far as how long a pro can skate and the amount of money they can make.
Yeah, I know, because I'd never been exposed to skateboarding. That was literally my first exposure to skateboarding with his game, and I probably played it for a while. It was a cool ass game.
That was
so I just wanted to know how did that affect you as a skater? So you answered that greatly, man. But
yeah.
I want to ask you, because I look at that shit, man, and I'm like, man, these dudes are crazy. I'm pretty sure people probably watch football and be like, man, these dudes are crazy, man, running into each other. But then I'm looking at you riding on a skateboard, you jumping on a rail, or you know what I mean, you're on a skateboard, you jumping down stairs. Like, that doesn't, I'm pretty sure at some point in time, it's like, you know, it's like second nature to me. But at any time in your mind, you like, okay, I'm a little nervous, I'm a little shook, I'm scared. Like,
yes, the answer is yes, all of it. It's probably similar to how you guys were when you play sports, when you play football. It's like, are there moments where you're scared? Yes, of course. It's just you stop yourself. You stop the fear from stopping you from doing what you're supposed to do, right? Yeah. That mixed with the amount of time you guys played, the more time you play, the more confidence that you gain, right? Same thing happened with skateboarding. It's like when I was a kid, there's no way I was jumping on a handrail. Yeah. And then I got a little bit better. Then I jumped on my first small handrail, and then you build confidence as you do it. But no, there wasn't a time where I wasn't scared. I just learned how to overcome it in a sense, you know? Okay. But look, I'll tell you guys straight up. I'd rather jump down a 20-stair handrail than go out in the field. You guys
yeah, I was about to say, we it's something wrong with us, though. We not, it's something got to be off to do what we do. Because, I mean, I see what y'all do, but it's, you know, you break a bone, it heals. That football stuff, now watching it from this side, it's like, man, something was really off, because 99% of the time, we don't even think about the real injuries and stuff that can be caused until somebody's laying there on the ground. That's the time we all kind of like, damn, like, you know, we all kind of one play away. So, but it's like you said, it's what you're supposed to be doing, so you find a way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. But you know what, though? I'll tell you guys straight up. I think you guys get hurt way worse than we do.
Yeah, I probably agree with that.
It's really rare. It's so rare for a skater to have a career-ending injury. It's so rare for us. Yeah. But like, that's kind of common for you guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing about us is it's 100% injury rate. You're gonna get hurt. It's just about how you deal with those injuries, how you prevent those injuries, and that kind of would lead me to my next question with you, because you talked about it with Randy on the business side of things, but on the skating side of things. Did you have like a certain mentor or somebody that kind of took you under their wing and kind of was like, hey, Mike, you don't do this, do that? We talk about that a lot on this show, about doing that with younger guys, you know, just learn how to take care of your body, learn how to manage off-field things. So who was that guy for you, if there was?
So I had a mentor outside of the skate world. I had a mentor that helped me with finance. Inside of skateboarding, I didn't actually. And that's one thing that's different about skateboarding than other sports is there's no coaches, there's no teachers. Like, you just kind of figure it out on your own. Yeah. So working through the skateboarding industry, dude, I just did my best to try to navigate through trying to, you know, move up. Yeah. As far as Randy, he's the one that was basically changed the trajectory of where my life was headed after skateboarding. Yeah. Right. That was where he played the biggest role. That now I am so thankful for, and why I do something real similar to you guys is I try to give back everything he did for me to the next generation, so that you know, we can get a larger group to have a better experience after our kind of industry ends than the rare few that pull it. Right? It's the numbers just aren't there.
Yeah. True.
So
very true.
I'm with you guys on that one.
Yeah. And it's something you actually said, and it really goes back to kind of that generating wealth, because athletes, especially in today's athlete, with people coming into the league with brands and things, with social media and things like that, and there's so much money that's being made. But something you said earlier probably went over some people's head, like just how money truly works. And even like something else you said with Randy and him managing multi-family offices, I didn't even know what a family office was until probably a year ago. And I'm, you know, I'm in the league and I'm, you know, working for billionaires, and they obviously have family offices. So just kind of, just even to get people in that mindset, just let us know like what really is a family office, and just kind of how what's the one glaring example that jumps out is like, okay, this is truly how money works or how wealth is generated?
Okay, so a family office, there's a single family office and a multifamily office. Ooh. A multifamily office means that there's a group that is going to manage multiple different people's portfolios. Mm-hmm. So you might manage 10, 20, 100, 1,000 different people's money. A single family office is when one person makes so much money that they need an entire team just to manage their money. So like, you know, and I'm kind of guessing here, but I feel like LeBron James would have his own single family office. He's making enough money where you need a whole team just dedicated for him. Randy, who became my mentor, they managed a bunch of different families. They managed my dad's money is what led to the connection with myself. As far as the principles to finance, you know, through my experience, it's more behavioral than anything. It's like, as far as investing goes, it's not that difficult to understand. The hard part is getting yourself to be disciplined and consistent to carry on. And you're at odds with so many different aspects to it. It's like lifestyle is a big one for us, right? Like we get used to a certain type of lifestyle, right? Sure. It's so easy for us to move up in lifestyle. The last thing we ever change though is lifestyle. So, you know, putting yourself in a position where you start making more money, but don't increase lifestyle gives you a higher ability to be able to achieve financial freedom, right? That's a big one too. You know, skateboarders, like, dude, we didn't make that much money. Like, we didn't make millions. So we're, I guess, and I'm kind of guessing here, but in the football world, we'd probably be like some of the guys that don't play that much that might make, I don't know what, 100 to 300 grand a year or something like that. Do those guys exist in football?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've seen the minimum. The minimum's around like 500 grand, like, you know, obviously 250, 300 after taxes.
Okay, so check it out. Your guys' minimum is higher than the majority of pro skateboarders, right? So we have to really be disciplined with how we get our money to work. But what I learned was I always had this idea that you can only achieve financial freedom if you're rich. Like rich is the only way to do it. And through my experience, it's not true. It's all about consistency. And it doesn't matter if you're making 100 grand a year or $4 million a year. A lot of times the guys making $4 million a year struggle more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's right. And that's because it's all behavioral at the end of the day.
And then it's all about the long game. So that's what a lot of us, especially as athletes, we're so short-term focused. You know, our goals are usually short-term. Is what we got to do that day, that week, that month, that season. And we don't really look and think out, you know, 10, 20, you know, 50 years from now. And then when I'm gone, then who am I leaving? What am I leaving my kids? So it's hard, especially for us. So, you know, we're making a bunch of money, but at the same time, our average career is, you know, 3 years. So you retired from your first career. You're probably 28, 29 years old, if you're lucky. And now you have this whole life to manage, and for the situation for a lot of us, we aren't coming from great financial literacy, and the people that are working for us aren't really there to truly like help and guide and mentor and show you. I'm sure a lot of the things that Randy showed, they just kind of there to get their managing fee and move on. And hopefully you bring 2 or 3 more clients with them. So it's so important that you know, that we find those people and put those right people around us and learn like you did. Get somebody that you can really get them to take you on their wing and learn from them, man. That's some real game right there.
No, real game.
1,000%.
Yeah. Another thing that I like that you said, as far as when you started the company, was that, you know, you wanted to bring your friends along. And again, that's something that, you know, myself and D-Bug, we talk about as far as like in our locker room, being at the time where we all making a lot of money. You know, a lot of guys want to do things of their own, but as far as, you know, bringing your friend along, creating a group where you can, you know, knock some of the risk out and things of that nature, man. I definitely tip my hat off for you, tip my hat off to you, you know what I mean, as far as just that whole concept of bringing your friends along and, you know, we all can make money together.
I mean, it's just better that way, right? It's like, I'm sure you guys feel that in the, I don't know if it's in the locker room, forgive me, just because I didn't play conventional sports, but like for skaters, man, like it was all about community. It was all about our group that went out, and when we would film tricks, it wasn't who did the best trick. It was all about how can we all do the best trick that we can possibly do. So we're always hyping each other up, right? And so you experience that type of community. And then after skateboarding, all of a sudden you experience isolation. Like all of a sudden I'm like here by myself and like, where's everybody else? That I don't like that, man. Like I want us all to succeed. It's like, what was the Jay-Z line, right? Like, if you're the only one rich and everyone around you broke, then you're broke, right?
Yeah.
It's like there's so much truth in that. Like true success is when everyone around you is succeeding.
Yeah.
Like I brought up LeBron, another great example of that.
100%.
You know, having this team and just building it out and learning the game as you guys go, and building each other up.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So let's talk about, man, the St. Archer, man. Like, how did that concept come about? Are you a big drinker? You a big beer drinker?
I mean, yes and no. Like not like I'm not a party guy. I just kind of never was. But skate events, like hanging with the guys. Yeah, it was always beer, right? Yeah. And basically, I was on a film trip. We were filming this movie, and the guy who was filming the video was from the surf industry. And so I'll bring it all together here. I got connected with the guy who made a surf film where he took the train with another pro surfer from San Diego up to San Francisco. And they stopped all around the coast, met with a different pro surfer, and filmed this whole video. And he wanted to do that inside of skateboarding and wanted me to be the pro. So we go down to San Diego first night. And while we're filming, I get a call from a friend, another pro skateboarder who wanted to start a sunglass company, which would later become a company called Glassy. And he called me. He's like, dude, I want to do the sunglass company. I want to call it Glassy. Do you want to start it with me? And I'm like, all right, let me think about it. Like, I'm out here filming. I'll hit you later. And I hang up the phone. I look at Josh, who was the surf filmmaker. And I was like, hey, what do you think about this? Like, I just got this call from a friend about doing this company. And he was like, I mean, dude, it sounds awesome. But in our world, we always do the same things. Like, we always do watches or clothing companies or sunglasses. Like, what if we did something that had never been done in our world? And basically that was at about 7 at night, midnight, when we're about to go to sleep. I turn off the light in our room. We're sharing a room. And all of a sudden he goes, like, beer. Like, what if we did beer?
Right.
And I hit on the light, right? I'm like, did you just say beer? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the greatest idea ever. We should do this. So we wake up the next morning. We basically abandon the film. We start driving home, and he goes, hey, hit up your friend P-Rod. Like, P-Rod invests. And for those that don't know, P-Rod is like one of the greatest skateboarders ever step on a skateboard.
Right.
And so I call P-Rod. I'm like, hey, dude, we're going to meet you off Canaan at the Starbucks. We have this idea. So he meets us there the next day. We pitched this idea we had the night before, and he's like, I'm in. And then us three basically set off to create a craft brewery. It took us about a year to figure out what we were actually going to do.
Yeah.
We opened doors the following year, and then we had it for about 3.5 years, and then we sold it to Miller Coors.
That's dope.
That's what's up, man.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
That's dope.
It's middle of the night beer. Did you just say beer?
Yeah.
I know the light bulbs probably just went off like, damn, this is perfect.
It was one of those things too, man, where it's like from the idea to us opening it to then selling it, it felt like it was just an idea that was given to us and all the doors were open. Like it was one of those moments that just felt like everything aligned, and like we couldn't have done it that well.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened, but it was a cool experience.
What about your boy? Did he ever come out with this? Well, you say it ended up the sunglasses. He ended up doing the sunglasses, right?
So my friend, his name's Mike Mo Capaldi, also one of the most talented skateboarders ever step on a skateboard, right? He creates Glassy, the sunglass company. 3.5 years later, he ends up getting in an accident and has drop ankle. Like he hurt something in a nerve in his leg, and he couldn't lift his ankle up anymore, and could no longer couldn't skate anymore. It ended his career. And because he created Glassy, he then was able to have something to fall back on. And that was such a good example to a bunch of new kids. Like, use your influence to build something so that once it's over, you then could step into the thing you created. So he was another great example of that.
No, for sure.
He did that right on time, man.
Right on time.
Yeah, man. So I know you said you out in Cali, man. How you been adjusting with everything with obviously COVID, shift? I'm sure you've had to pivot certain things professionally and personally. How's that been going?
The hardest thing's been personally, truthfully.
Yeah.
Like we have 3 kids now. We had 2 older daughters that were in school, and then we had a new son in the midst of it at the end of April. Yeah. So we had to make the adjustment of basically homeschooling.
Yeah.
And then the adjustment
too.
Yeah. And then we had 2, now we have 3. So we made that adjustment. And we found our groove. We feel pretty good now. And then, there was an adjustment on the business end, just going through how people, it was management more than anything. Our management company that oversees our assets had to go through a lot of changes because of state regulation. Mm-hmm. So adjustments made there. Yeah. But more than anything, honestly, man, like it was a moment where we started kind of preparing ourselves for where the opportunity was going to lie through this. It's like through times of uncertainty.
You got to do that.
100%. So even though it feels shitty and uncomfortable and chaotic and that the world's going to end, in these moments, this is where opportunity is created. Like at the end of 2008, 2009, 2010, we have some of our greatest tech companies that were created in that moment, right?
Absolutely.
So what is going to get disrupted through this that is going to give new people the ability to start something and going to kind of expand as the economy, goes through a rebuild. Yeah. So, we are looking at this and do think that this is possibly going to be one of the greatest wealth building moments of our lifetime. So agree. There was that as well. And now we're starting to see that happen now. It took about 4 months to where we're starting to see some of the opportunity come to fruition. But in that, right, it's like, this is a moment where it's the age of information, right? Like information is everywhere. And I think people are so much more disciplined now than they were in 2008 through uncertainty, that everybody knows, okay, there's uncertainty. That means there's opportunity. I'm not going to panic. I'm going to hold my money, right? But the challenge is you don't want to catch a falling knife, right? You don't want to be in too soon. You want to wait and be patient and see where the opportunity truthfully is. And we're starting to see that happen. I think it's going to kind of go more and more as time transpires. But
we're leaving to go.
Okay, I'll see you in a little bit. Bye. But I think that's going to be pretty big. I'm sorry, guys.
No, you good.
My daughter hit the light off. Give me 1 second. Sorry, guys.
No problem.
Sorry, boys. That's the kind of world we live in over the last 4 months.
That's the world we're in, man.
Hey, we're used to it. Trust me.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about this, man. It's gonna be a whole new world, honestly. And it's like you can't be the last to realize that. You got to start adjusting, adapting, moving forward, finding your lane.
That's right, 100%.
Yeah, man.
Well, shoot, man. Go ahead, D-Buck.
No, I was just gonna say I'm gonna let you go get with your family. I know growing up, I'm looking at all these sports right now on TV still, and so have you been following sports? Or did you follow sports growing up? I guess traditional sports.
You know what? You guys are gonna get on me for this? No, man. Like, it was like
that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit. Like, I don't want to say like I'm a diehard, but no, not that much. Truthfully, it was always skate for me. When I was skating, it was honed and focused in on my And then now it's like I do go places. Like sports are everywhere, right? But like I don't know. For me, it doesn't look the same right now. Like, just being a spectator looking in, like I don't know.
Different. It's definitely
without
different.
That's right. Hey, what's going on with the football season? Still up in the air?
Well, yeah, actually, the pro season is pretty much started. We're in training camp right now, and it was an abbreviated training camp. No preseason games, so they're gonna go right into the real games. But NFL's been operating on schedule. They've been a part of that adaptation. Obviously, you got a bunch of different safety protocols. They did the draft completely virtually. But they're going forward, business as usual. Those pockets got to be lined, man. Those
got
to keep operating. So
they're
gonna figure out how to make it work, and obviously the players are adjusting as well.
I feel that. So then, what's the hang up right now on the college side?
Yeah, the college side, and it's different there because you got quote unquote amateurs for one, and so you got a lot of, I'm sure, legal things that they don't want to be liable for with the guys on campus. So and plus you got a bunch of when you're dealing with a group of pros compared to dealing with a group of college kids, like you're gonna have a whole different set of issues, especially when you're talking about trying to keep this virus at bay. So I doubt we'll see anything close to a normal college season.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Yeah, let me ask you this, guys. I'm gonna hit you with a question.
Let's do it.
How challenging would it be for athletes in the industry now to stay focused through something like COVID? Not being able to play for months and then get back in. Is that a challenge for guys?
I don't think it's much of a challenge, just because of just how our off season typically is. Normally, if you make it to the playoffs, January, Super Bowl, February, and then from there, you kind of got to work on your own anyway. You know what I'm saying? And then, we have off season with the team activities. I would say about 2 months, and then you get another break and you're working on your own. So a lot of times, a lot of guys don't like the OTAs or, those 2 months where you're with the team and you're doing team activity. So I think for the vet guys, I think we can kind of handle it better. But then we have those incoming rookies who trying to find their way. I think it might be a little tough for them. But hopefully, they have some vet guys around them that can kind of show them the lay of the land when they do get in the locker room. But maybe I kind of was speaking for myself if I was in that situation.
How I would feel. Definitely speaking for himself. And I was cut from pretty much the same cloth as Twan, though, as far as off season, took him serious, and I could return back to the facility in better shape than I was when I would have been if I was there, honestly, in my off season. But for a lot of guys, that's not the case. It really depends on, where you are in the country. I'm from South Florida, so working out down here is easy. A bunch of guys have homes down here, train down here. So it's easy to train with other guys and stay in shape. But a lot of these guys, man, when they go home, honestly, football is probably the last thing on their mind. They're hanging out with different groups of people, doing different things. And the longer they're away, the further they're going to be away from being in real football shape. So now you kind of got a collection of those guys come together. You got to figure it out.
Got it. I feel that.
Yeah, man. Hey, we appreciate you, man. This is great stuff, man.
Great conversation, man. Very, impactful, insightful, man. And I'm definitely gonna be reaching out to you, man. Pick your brain some more, man. Just on what you got going on, man. And again, man, we appreciate having you.
I'll tell you guys what, let's definitely keep in contact, because if there's any way that I can be of assistance to help, the younger generation in your world, I think there's something that, even though you guys didn't skate, I didn't play football, as pro athletes, there's a very similar experience that we go through, right? And it's, there's the financial side of it, but there's also who are we after our career ends?
The identity side of it, that's the big part.
100%. So anything I could help you guys with on that end, please let me know. And I'll be following you guys on social as well, just to see the journey follow through.
Yes, sir, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Mikey.
Have a good one.
You too. All right, we're gonna answer some of these questions from our Twitter followers. The first one, I think this is a good question. The percentage of defensive players who have smarts and not just ability.
That's the question.
That's the question. So the percentage part is going to be tough, but I'm gonna ask you, D-Buck. 11. You got 11 guys on the field.
Yeah.
On the defense, on the side of 11 guys on the defense side of the ball. Give me the number of guys on the side of the ball that has the smarts, and then you give me the guys that know football, but mainly is about ability.
Yeah. Okay. Damn. So I think it's just levels. It's levels, really, because it's a certain football one-on-one stuff that everybody pretty much knows, or you wouldn't be in that room. But then as you get older, you just kind of learn more things. You stack it on, probably prepare. I would say guys who kind of are at that level really can get other guys lined up and stuff like that. It's probably you got 2 or 3 of those guys on the defense. And if you got any more of that, that's probably a really, really good defense. So I think of that San Francisco defense with Bowman and Willis, that whole core, that was a group. That Denver defense, Talib and Chris Harris, TJ Ward, all the boys, the Legion of Boom. I feel like those guys, it was 7, 8 guys who were on that top level. and that's why they click and play like that. So I would say on average, you're probably gonna get 2 or 3 guys that really know, really know what's going on, and then everybody else is kind of their job is to get everybody else on the same page.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that.
What you feel?
I kind of agree with that. I would typically say, like you said, 2 to 3 guys where, you can have a guy maybe on each level, safety, even corners, linebacker, and then on the D line. Typically, I would hope it was one of my safeties, my linebacker who's getting the front situated, and one of my, like you said, one of my guys up front. And then, like you said, if you get lucky, you might have, like you said, like Pete Willers, Bowman, or whatever, the Legion of Boom, where you have all, a number of guys that can run the defense. So I'm definitely with you on that. And that was a good question, because a lot of times you do have players where, look, man, just tell him where to go, tell him what he has to do, and leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? And you have players like that. So definitely a great question.
Yeah, for sure. So if I had to pick, just to piggyback on what you're saying, if I had to say, all right, you got 3 guys on your team who gonna know in your defense, I would want, like you said, a safety, because they're communicating to both the corners and linebackers. The linebacker that's always on the field, the 3-down linebacker, usually the Mike linebacker middle. He actually gets the call from the D coordinator and the mic and the helmet. So I want him to know what the hell is going on. Because sometimes those mics go out and we got to go signal. So sometimes we got a call that's it's going to be based off a closed call, or maybe it'll be based off where it is tight end. Like we don't like, so he got to know all the moving parts. And then, like you said, somebody up front, like Vince Wilfork was one of the smartest players I ever played with. Like he would watch film and he'll bring us in there on like a Wednesday or Thursday and be like, all right, look, I got to run past tail this week. Like, so basically if I'm in this stance and I put this up like this, it's a run, expect run or expect pass. So like when you got guys like that, those are big difference makers, man. But that's a great question.
Yeah, great question. I got another one for you. It's a pretty good question. Where is it? So are DBs in zone taught to drop beyond the first down line or right on it on third down?
You want to take it first, or?
Yeah, I'll take it. So obviously this is like a situational situation. On third down, you definitely want to drop to the sticks. Definitely want to drop to the sticks. You don't want to drop beyond that, because we all know in the league, a pitch and catch, fall forward, that's a first down.
Yeah. Obviously, and the sticks is the first down marker.
Yeah, first down
marker. That's what we call it. We call it sticks.
Call it the sticks, where that offense has to get to get a first down. On first down in zone, what I would teach my DBs and what I've been taught is obviously in zone, everybody eyes is on the quarterback. Everybody eyes on the quarterback. Everybody who's dropping should see the same thing. So not a lot of times we were taught that you get in your drop when that quarterback set, you should set.
You say, yeah.
And so that could be if it's a deeper drop by the quarterback, you might be a little deeper. If it's a 3-step drop, obviously we know the ball is coming out quick, so you need to set up quicker. So in that instance, like I said, DBs, when you're looking at the quarterback, when the quarterback stops to set up to throw the ball, that's when the DBs should set up.
Yeah, I mean, you knocked that one out. I guess the only thing I add on is in zone defense, like we have like landmarks, pretty much landmarks, like, hey, 10 to 12 yards, outside the hash or in between 2 and 3 or whatever your landmark is in that coverage. You want to get to that landmark, and then you want to settle and have your eyes on that quarterback, because most zone defenses, you want to. I know we were taught in New England, we had a no cover zone basis. So like Twan said, on 1st and 10, we're dropping back like no cover 5 and under. We're not covering that, because a lot of offense put something in front of guys in zones, and they want to hit the team that's behind them. So they want to put a little hitch route in front of you and throw the 15, 16-yard dig route behind you. So it's important that you get your depth, and then once the ball come out, since everybody is looking at the quarterback, everybody rallies and make that tackle. That's why San Fran was one of the best teams. I think they were the best pass defense last year because everybody was on the same page with that scheme. Send 4, drop 7. When that ball comes out, everybody knows where they're supposed to be, and they're rallying to it and tackling well. So that's how you operate in a great zone defense.
Mm-hmm. 2 more questions. I'm gonna combine these. So the first part is it still possible to cornerback blitz? And then the second part of that is continuity in the secondary more important than ability. So is it still possible to send a quarterback on a blitz, and then continuity in the secondary more important than ability?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, you can definitely send cornerback blitzes. You don't see them as much. I think, quarterbacks just adjust, and you got built-in hot routes. But you send that cornerback, obviously somebody got to be out there to guard them. And the corners are your best cover guys. So if you blitzing them, you're putting in a lesser coverage guy on probably a better athlete. So it's dangerous, but you can definitely do it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as my take on the continuity on the back end, I think that's more important than ability. If you you look at that Seattle lead you to boom. You had and not a draft positions or everything, but you had a 5th rounder, I believe, in Richard Sherman. I think a 5th rounder with Cam, and 1st rounder with Earl, and you had Maxwell and Browner. I think Browner was an undrafted free agent, so they weren't elite ability guys. But when you got them on the field together and everybody clicking on the same page, man, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Now I'm with you. I think that continuity, man. That speaks volume. Where, like you said, you can have a guy who, he's not a Deion, he's not a Pat P, where he can just lock somebody down. But the part of the game where he's going to be where he's at. You don't have to worry about him. He understands the game plan as far as communication. The communication is there across the board. You know where they're going to be at. So if you can have that,
important, man.
Yeah, it's so important. If you can have that across the board, man, with the 4 or 5 guys. If you say you bring a nickel in, and everybody's on the same page, everybody know what they need to do. Everybody know what the game plan is, who we're trying to take out, or whatever the case may be. If you can have that, man, you're great. If you can have a guy there who has all the ability in the world, but doesn't understand the game. Okay, this is what we're trying to do. This is why the D coordinator is making this call. That could. The ability is
making adjustments when they come to be on the same page and making adjustments. Hey, Twan, let's play. Let's go back and play this. How we played it back in week 6. Remember how we did that? Yeah, boom. Yeah. Like that's in the heat of the moment, like on the sideline or in the middle of a drive, maybe. So that's so important because football is a team game, the ultimate team game, and I can do my job much better if I can trust the guy next to me to be doing his job. And if I know what he's doing, I know cover 2. If I'm a nickel and I got a corner, I know that corner is going to come saw that outside leg off, so I can haul ass and go full speed and saw the inside leg off. And we playing on the string. So what Coach Hammer used to call it, the June Taylor dance.
The June Taylor dance. Yeah, Hammer, man. We gotta get Ham on here one day, man.
Gotta get Ham on here, man.
Yeah, gotta get Ham on here. Hey, look, right. So I want to kind of talk about. We talking about questions as far as DB wise. If you don't know D Buck, man, he has his Everything DB show, man, and he does a great job breaking down different coverages and just really giving it to you in layman's terms as far as fans, just to kind of understand, what the concepts of each coverage is and what it entails. So you posted something last night about 2-man, and you kind of call that cover 5, and 2-man, and you kind of mentioned, and then obviously playing, I know nickelbacks. They hate this coverage. Explain why the nickels hate this coverage.
All right, so 2-man, it sounds great. It looks great in theory and on paper, right? You play underneath. You don't really have to worry about the deep ball. And ideally, you want to be between the receiver and the quarterback. Like, so if he's running a 15-yard out route as a cornerback, you want to be underneath it, like at about 13.5, 14 yards and try to make the play. But the predicament that you're in as a nickel is, number one, if you get beat across your face to the inside, like you have no help because everybody else is playing man to coverage. The middle of the field is wide open underneath. So you got no help. Same thing for the cornerback. But the other thing with us is we're responsible for the middle read route, which is if you got split safeties, you got two high safeties, like basically cover two safeties. Where receivers convert their deep routes is right in between those guys. So if we're in our mind, we're playing two man, so we're aggressive underneath, but at the same time, we're responsible for that route with no deep help over the top. That puts us in a really bad spot. So the good nickels, they gotta adjust and they gotta know exactly what this offense like to run. Should I back off a little bit? Play high shoulder until I declare the other route. Did I just undercut it once it breaks? But it definitely puts you in a tough spot as a nickel, man. So we hate it. I know playing safety. I loved it a lot more playing safety. It was a lot less stressful.
A lot less stressful, man. So you back there, like you said, cover two, that shell. You reading that quarterback, and for me, it's like if I get a good a good nickel, I'm not asking you to make that play. All I'm asking you to do is just be underneath and make that quarterback throw the ball higher, so it'll give me more time to get there. So yeah, but I definitely every meet room that I was ever in, the nickel, they hate that coverage.
Yeah, man, that's a tough one on the nickel, man. You got some variations too on the video I put it up. They actually played trap. So on the trap variation, that's when, because a very popular route against two man is the slot receiver running an outbreaker. And then the number one receiver, the widest receiver, just doing a must outside release, just running up the field, clearing out the space. So what Detroit and Darius Slay did was they called a trap. And it's basically once that corner gets that outside release, he peeks in at the number two receiver with the nickel's guard, and the nickel kind of passes it to him. And a lot of times the quarterback never sees him come off and make that play. So that's what happened in that play. So that's kind of the game within the game. And that's really the game we can be all right now. But that's why we hate it, man. That's a scary call coming in.
It is. And like I said, the D coordinator, they can help you out too, as far as when they're calling it. Don't call that coverage and in an obvious situation, you know what I'm saying? And you kind of mentioned on the film as well as not sure how long we're gonna see that coverage just with the type of quarterbacks that's in the game. Whereas like you said on the film, where all the secondary backs are turned. The corners, the nickels, even your linebackers, just depending on who they're guarding, your backs are turned as well. So if you have a very mobile quarterback, he can get out of there, and your next, probably the closest people that's going to be able to see him and get him is your two safeties, 15 yards deep. So,
yeah, it actually happened to us when we played the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, kind of that quarterback that you always almost forget can scramble. And we played a rep of two man, and the veteran quarterbacks, they know it as soon as they see it. They know once they see all the backs turn. And he took off for like 20 yards. And I mean, he was 16 yards down the field before anybody in the back end even knew he just took off running. So tough coverage, man. You won't see much of it going forward, I don't think.
But man,
I said, all the listeners, a whole nother segment. The questions,
whole nother segment. Yeah. But like again, like we said, man, everything DB show, man. Y'all go check that out, man. He's dropping some gems on there.
YouTube, IG, all that. Yep. So this is episode 9, man. Plus the bonus questions. So this might be like a bonus episode or something. We went probably about 15, 20 minutes on the questions. Probably good, very good questions though.
No, for sure. So hope y'all enjoyed this episode, man. Y'all catch us next week. We at it again. I may be D-Butt.
EB.
The Man Pod. We out.